Put your faith in the light.
Hello guys, welcome to another one of my videos. This is Lightblade, and well guys, in this one we are going to be doing another full game commentary, this time on a Neltharus 15 that I did yesterday. So for this one, the group comp was kind of peculiar. It wasn't full meta. We had Red Paladin, myself, we had a mage that was arcane, which is pretty interesting to see. Normally everyone is like fire or frost, and we had a shadow priest as the third DPS. For the healer, we didn't get a druid. Normally you get a druid for that extra 3% versatility buff, but this time we got a Shami, and it was pretty interesting to see. And obviously the tank was a demon hunter. 99% of the tanks you're going to find in 15-16s are going to be Vengeance Demon Hunter with the occasional Protection Paladin. But yeah, it's kind of annoying that the tank meta is that way, but what can you do? Okay, so for the talents, this was the build that I went to. On the Retribution side of the talent tree, we took like a more priority damage setup with Searing Flames instead of going for Searing Light. This is because, well, in Neltharus there isn't too many big pulls that you're going to be doing. Most of them are going to be pretty pack-to-pack play, mostly because they're kind of dangerous to pull a lot, even with the chains and stunning them and all those things. There is the risk of people dying. And also I was expecting this tank to pull that way. For the paladin side of the build, also I'm doing small changes. I'm not taking like any point of cleanse toxins because we don't need it in this run, so I'm just putting 2 points in Fist of Justice to kick, to interrupt things more often. There's those thaumaturges that need either kicks or stops to stop doing that laser fire thing that they do on you. So Fist of Justice is nice. There's also a lot of other like annoying mobs that you can get with more often Hammer of Justice. On the lower half of the talent tree, I'm not taking Vengeful Wrath, mostly because I don't really like this talent. It does nothing in AoE, it just does stuff in single target for the most part. I'd rather take just Divine Purpose. It's more of a me choice than sim choice, although it's really damn close. But remember, it's also a lot more fun to play with Divine Purpose. There's a lot of times where you're going to find that you get a chain of procs of this thing, and it's really nice to play with that. Okay, so this build will be in the description of the video if you want to copy it. As for the build on my talents instead, this is the one that I took. As you may see, I'm pretty lucky. I do have most of the really powerful items. I went for the setup with Neltharus Calls to Chaos plus Incarnate Icon for my trinkets. A lot of people are going for example things like Anvil plus Ashes of Ember Soul, but I really like my setup because it's pretty reliable. If there are mistakes, sometimes you can't get the Anvil to full stacks, but it's a really good trinket as well. And also Ashes is pretty good if you're doing like huge pulls and know the pull pattern of the tank. But since we don't and it's a pug, I'd rather just take pure stats and just do sustained damage for the most of the run. Neltharus Calls to Chaos has a pretty good uptime. It's between like 23 to up to sometimes 30%. Okay, for my embellishments, I'm using Frostfire Legras of Preparation plus Blue Silken Linen that gives me a bunch of mastery, just to balance out my stats. With that, like my stats are 37 crit, 35 haste, 37 mastery, and 30 burst once I get my food buff on. And well guys, that's all for my stats. Now let's get into the run. Okay guys, we are here in the Neltharus 15. So, like I said at the start of the video, the group comp was pretty weird. We had an Arcane Mage, just haven't seen one of those in a really long while. Shadow Priest, a Shami Healer, and Demon Hunter tank. We're just gonna do the standard big pull here. He's going to go inside and bring one of those packs with a Thaumaturge there. Just follow him just in case, so if he doesn't die, he needs a sack or something here. This pull is the name of the game in this first pull is just find a Thaumaturge and just beat the crap out of him. Just beat that Thaumaturge to the ground and control him with the CC you have. I'm just gonna let most of the CC be done here by the healer and the tank at the start, and then I'm going to start applying my own CC, my own stuns and blinds as I see needed. Gonna open with our normal Retribution Paladin rotation, build some like 5 Holy Power, use our Wings plus Final Reckoning spend, then use our Divine Toll spend, then use another refresh our Blade of Justice on our target, so Expurgation is on them, Judgment spend, and then keep using Wake of Ashes and our Divine Toll like Resonance procs as we see them come in. It's a pretty risky pull if with so many Thaumaturges, but we control them pretty fine. Tank is taking a beating, but he's just okay. He's just gonna keep chain pulling stuff into us, which is okay with our group comp, use a little blind there to stop that laser beam from the thaumaturges. That's the main ability that's going to kill your group here. I use a small shield of vengeance there because I had a Spiteful on me just to make it hit me, and I can make my shield explode. You know, every small amount of damage helps to deal with the trash. And we're gonna keep continuing pulling this other group with another thaumaturge. As always, try to target the thing so it dies first. You know, you want to kill that because it's the most annoying mob in the pack and the only one that's basically going to be doing damage to the group. And we're just going to keep doing our normal red poly rotation. The tank is just going to keep like chain pulling stuff. There we get a random sub to the channel. Thanks for the sub. And well, we're gonna keep going. You know, just keep blasting those thaumaturges down, stunning them, blinding them as you can. The double points and stun are really handy for this first part of the dungeon. These thaumaturges are very spammy on the abilities that they do, so it's nice to have it. And we're just gonna keep pulling stuff, you know. Tank is taking a beating a bit, but we believe in him, you know. Could sack, could also like bop him, but he's just doing fine. We do take a incorporeal hit there. I wasn't actually looking behind me, but we waited off and we just used our cooldowns after that. Here we're gonna take some of these mobs into the boss. I personally don't like to do that too much, you know. You really want to focus every single ounce of your damage on like the boss. In this case, this elephant thing is really dangerous because he puts dots and he gets a lot dangerous as the longer the fight goes in, you know. So I'd rather go with like all our cooldowns and just focus it down. But we're just going to do some nice AoE here on top of these mobs and the boss itself. Incorporeals, how I deal with them is mostly if we have a Shadow Priest in the group, I'm just gonna let the Shadow Priest deal if it's only one, and I'm going to help if there are two Incorporeals. This is because Shadow Priests can actually make the Incorporeal work for us, you know, they control it and we have an extra, and well, it puts a debuff on the mobs that they do 5% less damage, so it's nice to them to do the Incorporeals. But if there's two, or if I see the Shadow Priest in too much like stress, I try to help. Just gonna be using our defensives on these frontal hits. Those are the ones that are going to kill you in combination with the dot of this boss. So just use them appropriately there. We also have our bubble in case of emergencies, if we get like in a bad angle and we're going to get hit by the charge or like the charge magma waves. And we just use normally a rotation as normal, you know. There we had a Call to Chaos proc on top of our wings. It's really nice to use that trinket, you know. It's since it has like a 1 proc per minute, it normally lines up with your cooldowns just naturally. So I really like it. I track it, so trust me, it procs really often. Sometimes even back to back. Now we have our weapon coming up in a few seconds, so we have to find an opening to use it, where there's no like swirly on the ground that's going to hit us, no charge or nothing, and like that's super dangerous because we're going to plant ourselves for around 1.5 seconds. I think our opening is really close here. He's going to do the magma wave, and after that he's going to do a frontal on someone, and that's our chance, you know. So we see that he's doing the frontal and we use our weapon. Nice. It's always good to put that thing on cooldown as often as possible because it does a ton of damage, you know. Especially now that we have a lot of crit chance. The thing crits pretty often and it's just a nice nuke. And then again, you see our Call to Chaos proc with our cooldowns. Like that 1 proc per minute is pretty good, you know. And we just keep doing damage. Just gonna run on top of the lava. We have both of our defensives. I'm gonna use our Shield of Vengeance there so it gets hit by the dot and it explodes and does some extra damage on the boss. Still have our Divine Protection for any frontal that comes to us, so we can just mitigate some of that damage. The boss is 22% health, but this boss is really dangerous by the end. It's when the healers kind of like get hit on their mana pool. This healer is just doing fine. He's doing great on mana. He's just healing us pretty well. So I'm not worried too much about that, but I'm still going to send all my cooldowns here just to finish up this fight. Not gonna risk it, you know. There's no reason to save our cooldowns. We have a long way before the next pull. Just send cooldowns all the time. He's gonna do another one of his explosions. It's really nice that Blizzard capped the amount of damage that this boss can do, you know. I think he only can get like max 4 or 5 tentacles, and that's pretty much it. I panicked a bit there and just used bubble. But we're fine. We shouldn't need bubble in the foreseeable future, you know. Still have Bob if we need something. The Bob is actually pretty useful in the next part because there's some hunter mobs in this place that jump to someone and put a really nasty bleed, and we need the Bob on ourselves because, by the way, if you didn't know, bleeds do full damage on any type of armor. So it doesn't matter if you're a clothy, doesn't matter if you're a plate user, those bleeds are going to chunk you down, you know. If you get jumped by 2 hunters, well, rip, you're gonna get the double nasty bleed, and it's very bad. Demo Hunter is going to do some Demo Hunter things and just sleep those mobs. I by accident auto-damaged them, you know. Luckily, I didn't get any aggro, you know. The mobs are still CC'd. I come here to see if the Demo Hunter is fine. Want to CC that Incorporeal, but I think I'm just gonna LOS it, you know. Why bother? The Shami is going to position himself here to do the chains. So we're just gonna start doing some damage on them. And once they're close enough, the Shami is gonna take the chains and stun these mobs. So the change on these chains is not really good because the duration of the stun is slow. You know, it's like I think 4 seconds or something like that, and the duration of the debuff of damage taken is the same. I think that a good change for this would be like make the damage duration on the mobs like 10 to 12 seconds and reduce the stun to 3. I think that would be a good compromise because these chains, while they do something, they don't feel as impactful as the other ones, you know, the old version where you nuke the pack. Well, in that way, well, the old one just played dungeons by itself. If they do the extension on the damage debuff taken, I think it's just better because you are doing the damage, you know. You still have to put your cooldowns on these things to blow them up. They're not gonna blow themselves up. So yeah, I think that would be a nice change on Neltharus because currently it is still one of the most annoying keys to do, and I think it's like F tier on every tier list in terms of difficulty. Here I'm going to be doing a little blind and take the chains to the mobs, you know, just 1-2, just as fast as possible because the chain hurts. You don't want to get like the chain and then jumped on top with a hunter, you know. So we see our Incorporeals going there, and I'm gonna do one of them. Like I said, if I see 2. And if I see that we are in a very stressful situation, I'm not gonna wait for my healer and Shadow Priest to do it. I'm just gonna try to help with one of them. And just going to do a normal paladin rotation. As you saw, rotation is pretty simple for red. I described it at the start of the video. You just build 5 to 4 holy power at the start. You use Final Reckoning plus wings, spend, Divine Toll, spend, refresh, Blade of Justice, Judgment, spend. And after that you use Wake of Ash when you are lacking some holy power and keep weaving in those judgments in between your expurgate. You have to refresh your expurgations, and that's pretty much it, you know. Only like the first 15 seconds of our start rotation are kind of intensive, mostly because of Divine Resonance, but after that it's pretty chill. Now we're gonna wait for our tank to do the next pull. He's going to use the chains again. Normally I would love to do these chains because these are one of the most dangerous ones to do. There's hunters, there's trainees that throw you bones, you know, and those bones are physical damage. But we already did one chain, so we have to let other person do it. But we have a really nice setup here. We have a ton of CC, so I think the Shadow Priest, no, actually the mage did the chain, so we're fine. So we're just gonna blow all our cooldowns on these mobs. Like I said, like the duration on that debuff is not long. Doesn't feel impactful enough. Let's do our AoE rotation, which is the most fun you can do with a red pally. Red pallies are really good for AoE. Our single target is okay now. It's not bad. Those hunters are jumping to people and leaving those nasty debuffs. I just immune there, so I'd remove the bleed, because having those on a lot of people is pretty stressful on the healer. Even on a Tyrannical key, there's just one Phoenix that's still alive there. You gotta kill it before the boss. Healer doesn't seem to use mana, you know. Shami seem pretty good, you know. I've seen a lot of healers like struggling with mana, but this guy is just fine. So we're gonna use our cooldowns here and gonna do the chain boss. So Charga, this boss is one of the pug killers. Most of your keys are going to die here because the chains, you know, the chains. That phase is extremely damaging on the tank because it's going to fixate him and it's just going to like hit him as really hard. You can sack him, but you are also in risk of dying there because of swirlies, because of the damage of that phase itself. So he says Pally Mage. The mage is just there first, so I use my chains and it's really risky because we do a 2-set. And then we stun it. I don't have my weapon here. I normally like to have my... we got a 1-up proc of Incorporeal before I can do it. I normally like to have my weapon for this phase, so it does a lot of damage. But I don't have it, so I'm just gonna save it for next stun phase. That Incorporeal hit could have been dangerous, but our healer was already like prepared. I think he did a small ramp or something. We didn't take too much damage. So yeah, like I was saying, a lot of your runs are going to die in this boss. It's one of the most punishing ones. There's also the problem that sometimes the bug with the chains happens as well. I'm gonna position myself to do the chains there. I'm gonna wait for first chain, you know, and then I'm gonna wait for the debuff to run out, and I'm gonna move to the tank. Slowly get there, dodging all the swirlies and all the crap in the ground. Now we have our weapon. When he gets stunned again, I'm going to be doing weapon because it does a ton of extra damage. Nice, we got some nice crits on the weapon activation, which is also always good to see here. Weapon is really good on these boss fights, on this and the last boss in this place, because they both have like damage amp increases. So yeah, just save it for those. And just send cooldowns, like 1-minute cooldowns whenever you can. There's 2 of the Incorporeals, so I see one and they already have it controlled. I was ready to do it, to help though. Those Incorporeals are very annoying, you know. I do not like that affix. It's a pretty simple affix to take care of, you know, if you're in a coordinated group, but if you are not, sometimes it's annoying. I'm gonna use my lay on hands there just to save myself. I see that someone already hit the chain and I'm gonna hit it next so we don't get 2 stacks. Just dodge the swirlies as best as possible. Do the last chain, damage amp. We don't have anything like to throw on this boss here. I'm just gonna hit it with normal abilities. We should be able to just kill it with our cooldowns that are coming in the next 7 seconds, so we don't risk it. Yeah, I'm just gonna send cooldowns, you know. I don't wanna get to another one of the damage phases. I mean chain phases. And then the tank is going to go to another route, you know. He's not going to go to the normal like pull everything and get the food buff. We're not going to pull those mobs actually, and we're just gonna go back and we're going to go up the stairs here. So this was a very interesting route. I kind of liked it, you know. Doing those chains with all those mobs and that hallway is sometimes dangerous because there is a lot of extra damage that people are going to be taking. We have 2 Colothes and those mobs like to throw stuff on them, and it's physical damage, so they take a ton of damage. So we're going to be killing a lot more stuff on this part of the dungeon. While this is a bit riskier, these mobs, we have a lot of control, you know. So we have a lot of stops on these like little flame mobs that are going to throw lava bolts at you, and the lava bearers that don't do too much, you know. They do frontals, then they did drop stuff on the ground. Gotta use our weapon there. We're gonna apply Blade of Justice and just throw the weapon there, and then use our cooldowns as normal. As you can see, those lava flares are our main focus. We want to kill them first because they do hurt, especially if they cast on the same person. Okay, they have it controlled. I throw my stun there just to take care of the Incorporeal. If you can't like use your turn evil because something is happening, it's always nice to just do a stun first and then a turn evil, just as an emergency measure. It's kind of annoying to use to waste 2 globals there, but it's the safe way to do it if you're under pressure. Now we're gonna skip that pack that's padding the up and down those stairs. And we're going to go to the next boss area. Just gonna pull everything here. I'm waiting for that Incorporeal to appear, and I'm gonna turn evil it. I should have let the the priest do it. But hey, we don't want to be lazy. We're just gonna do stuff sometimes. And then we're just gonna do our normal pally rotation on these mobs. As always, try to focus down those lava flares. They have to die first. They do a ton of damage. They're really dangerous if the casts go off on the same person. Tank is just going to keep going and just chain pulling. Back to lava flares. The group has a lot of control. Xiaomi is pretty good because of the knock-up that it has. Since it's a knock-up, it doesn't have like diminishing returns for their stuns or anything like that, so it's nice control. We're gonna use a blind there to stop those casts. And we have our weapon, so we have to find an opening to use our weapon. There's a lot of crap on the ground, so we might use our weapon and charge into a puddle, which is not great, you know, you might die there. So there's our opening. You just use our weapon and it just does some damage to the mobs. It's not the most incredible thing in AoE. It gains some extra damage from more mobs being there, but nothing huge. In Neltharus, the bigger value of your weapon is that you're going to be using it on damage phases on some of these bosses. I'm gonna turn evil one of those mobs. Xiaomi also hexes it, or I think it was a hex. No, actually it was a polymorph. But now we're gonna drop down here, kick some of those melts, and just do our damage on these mobs. We're not going to pull the next side, by the way. We're just going to do the boss. So we're gonna play in a small area here. It's always risky. Like in the past, it would have been suicide because of our judgment was kind of bugged and it could like pull stuff off out of combat. But now it's fixed, so it's really safe to do it. Let's focus down this blacksmith here. And we can start with the boss. So this boss is pretty intense on the damage department, but you can have a defensive every single time he does his big, like, jump in the middle and hit the anvil thing. So yeah, we're gonna start with a Shield of Vengeance here. He's gonna jump and do his little anvil hits. Gonna do a ton of damage to the group. We use our Shield of Vengeance, we don't take too much damage. Here we're kind of in an awkward position. I think I have to move. Yeah, I have to move there. So I'm going to move a bit more far to the right, so I give my range a bit more space whenever that happens, so we don't have to like move from the X swirlies, you know. He's gonna do the jump again in the middle, and now he's just use our other defensive Divine Protection, and the next one is going to be a Shield of Vengeance. If you don't have any of those up, sometimes there's like a small gap that you have, like 3 seconds. Always top yourself off in between the hits that he does. You know, he does a hit, you use a Word of Glory or a potion or something just to top yourself up. Or if you have Lay on Hands, you know, you wait for 2 hits and then you Lay on Hands yourself. Just keep yourself alive is the most important thing. Like Red Pallies do most of their damage just by existing and not dying. So that's one of their biggest strengths. Here I see an opening to use my weapon while he's doing his little anvil thing. And as I said, I'm going to use my range pally, my range Retribution Paladin advantage and just move away a bit from my group so they have room to move with that X formation swirlies. And just keep doing that, you know, this is a boss that's just rinse and repeat. I think here is the small overlap. Like I said, I have like 3 seconds on Divine Protection. So I'm just gonna heal in between the hits. And Divine Protection for the Blazing Aegis because I'm being targeted. We should have a Shield of Vengeance for the next Anvil hit. And yeah, this is a pretty simple boss fight. I like this about the Dragonflight dungeons. Like, boss fights seem very simple to do. They're pretty fair if you manage your defensives. So there I did something that I told you guys before. Like, stun the Incorporeal and then use your turn evil. If you're like in a heavy pressure situation where I was there, I had to dodge the swordly so I can't cast. Just throw the stun, and once I can actually cast, I just do it. Just gotta be calm and steady, you know. You have it all the time in the world to do this. You have 11 minutes to do like the next boss and a few packs of trash. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, we have this, so just gotta play it slow. Use our pally at range again. Give the group some space so they can move with the X formation and just finish up this thing. So now I'm going to position myself here next to the anvil, and I'm gonna take the shield. This is really good. We're a blacksmith, and this shield does a lot of damage. It does like 5 million hits when you throw it down, so it's nice to throw it on like a big AoE pack if you're doing one. And we're going to be doing that. We're taking these lava flares. We're taking this big commander. I haven't seen a lot of groups pull this commander, by the way. A lot of them skip it, but it does give nice count, and it's also not really hard to do. The thing just does like big swirlies on you, so you don't have to stack, and it does swirlies on everywhere. So here I think I'm going to make a small mistake, and I'm going to like pull that pack behind me. I forget the path is there. But we're still going to be fine. You know, we're going to handle it and just do the damage. I help with one of the Incorporeals and just keep doing my rotation as normal. You're gonna see here, I'm gonna pull that thing. Yeah, I get too close to the flare and I pull it. I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do I do now? Throw the shield. I have to throw the shield here. So I get that shield from the last boss and I throw it to the ground. It's going to do an X formation swirlies and it's going to do some damage to these mobs. It explodes and it does a ton of damage to them. So yeah, that allows me to fix my mistake. You know, we lose one of the people there. We lose the Shadow Priest, but it's fine. You know, we're gonna res him in a second. I'm getting hit by that Spiteful, but I can take a few hits, you know, I don't have to move. We had a shield from the mage there. Just gotta keep calm in those moments where sometimes you make a small mistake. Or maybe actually we did need these mobs, I don't really know. But we handled it and we go to the next part. We have 8 minutes. We're just going to do like, how many? 2 pulls? 2 trash pulls, that's like 2 minutes, and we have like 6 to finish up the last boss. We're not going to do any like snap shenanigans because we dealt with those 2 mobs upstairs. He's going to set up this pull, so we're just going to wait. A lot of mistakes that I see other red pallies do is that they are too eager to do damage and sometimes like get aggro of certain mobs. Just wait for the tank to do his thing. Here he's going to just pull those mobs and just gonna do, I think, night elf things and drop aggro. Here I use this pot just to make people laugh because it kills you. It's like a weird feign death. Doesn't really do anything, by the way. It's not like you can drop aggro by doing it. I just throw it there. Okay, we're gonna do this last pack, and this is going to give us most of our count, and then it's just boss. So we're focused down the bird. Bird hurts a lot. After that, there's some kicks you have to do on those. I think the lava mancers do an AoE. Actually, they put the shield on top of them. You have to break the shield and kick that molten army, so no more of those lava flares appear. I see one of the Incorporeals appear, and I use my turn evil. Try to help the group a lot with those turn evils in stressful situations. Just gonna use our weapon here to plant us in place. Just do damage. It's really nice that you can use your weapon to avoid like displacement effects. And yeah, the bird's dead. There's only 2 mobs left. And after that is just boss time. It's gonna take the hits from that Spiteful. Actually, we are missing some stuff. We are missing a few percentages here. But we can pull any of these packs on the sides and still have time to do boss. So we're gonna do that. Just gonna send our cooldowns here. No reason to save them. Actually, this is really good because that allows us to have, I think, our cooldowns for the next, for the first like damage phase on the boss. We're also going to have our weapon for the first damage phase of the boss. And there's something very interesting about this boss in particular that Shami told me at the end of the run, you know. You only need 2 people to do the weapon thing to break the shield. You don't need the whole group to do the weapons. And this is good because that allows, let's say, tank and healer to do it, and that the DPS can just focus on damage. But I didn't know that, so I was just picking up the weapons. Which I think is always nice, you know, to help the group. Don't want to be lazy and do nothing. Because then, if the healer and the tank don't do it, and no one else does it and expects them to do it, then, well, everyone dies, you know? So, I think it's better to just keep doing the weapons. We're just gonna send cooldowns here. I thought they were gonna be up for the damage phase, but they won't. I'm looking for a treasure there. There's nothing. There's one like in the back there where the Shallow Priest is. So after my cooldowns, I think I'm going to go pick up one of them. We're going to save the weapon for the damage phase. I'm actually waiting for the boss to do the frontal thing. That is my cue to go pick up a treasure, because I don't want to use my horse and then he's going to do his frontal and then I die. So I throw my treasure and it's broken. Nice. Now I want to kill this stupid little ad, you know, because it hurts and I want to use my weapon. So I just bubble and use weapon there. Yeah, I didn't want to lose uptime on the boss while the boss is in his damage phase. So yeah, just bubble and use it. Here the Shami is pinging me, so he's telling me like don't take treasures, and he's gonna do it or something. But I'm just doing the boss, you know. I'm trying to be helpful here. Okay, just wanted to get through there so I could do like a CC on the Incorporeal. Now we're gonna use our treasure here and blow up the shield. You gotta be patient with those whirlies. If you go too close too soon, you might die. Gotta take a hit from the molten gold. That dot is nasty, so we're gonna pop a small defensive there and take it. Shield is gonna blow up and do some damage to the boss as well. Still have 9 seconds of the debuff, so we're just gonna heal ourselves up, pick a treasure. Yeah, we should be fine. We just lay on hands ourselves. The boss is going to go to its next damage phase. We have 3 minutes. This key is more than timed. Just gotta keep ourselves alive, you know. Be patient here. Use the shield. And it hits it with the tip. Use our damage cooldowns while the boss is taking extra damage. Always great when it lines up, you know. Sadly, we don't have a Call to Chaos proc. We have it now, you know. We have it for the last 10 seconds of our damage rotation, which is always good. And the boss, 5% health. It's just gonna die before it does another rotation of its damage. And there we go. We get this key done, and it's some nice 10 points. I'm really happy we actually got the Neltharus because it's one of the hardest keys this season. And well guys, with that we sit at a comfortable 3,235 score, with the only keys missing on 15s being Ultiman and Alcatar Academy of all places, which is a pretty chill key, but the problem is we haven't found a 15 key to do, you know. We are in that awkward spot where we depend on our own key now, which is a knockout 16 offensive, or getting into some groups. We have a pretty decent score, but the problem is we're not a meta class, and everyone wants either like 3 classes. They want a lock, They want the Shadow Priest, and they want the Mage, which is very annoying. But we will persevere and we will try to get our score up there. The goal this week is to finish up with at least some 16s done on Tyrannical, and next week on Fortify we can start doing all the 16s, like complete our 16s on Fortify. And well guys, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching everyone.